Level 1. The fringe professional. Nobody talks about the players who almost made it. But here's the uncomfortable truth. For every Cole Palmer lighting up the Premier League, there are dozens of players who got their shot, sometimes even a perfect shot, and watched their careers fade into the Championship within 2 seasons. This is Level 1. These aren't bad footballers. They're professionals who reached the pinnacle of English football but lacked the physical attributes, technical consistency, or mental resilience to stay there. They're emergency signings, late window gambles, or youth prospects thrown in before they're ready. They flash brilliance once, maybe twice, then disappear. Federico Macheda is the textbook example. April 5, 2009. A 17-year-old who'd never trained with Manchester United's first team scores a 93rd-minute winner against Aston Villa to save their title race. Old Trafford erupts. Martin Tyler screams his name. The kind of moment careers are built on. But here's what they don't tell you. That was his peak. At 17, in his first professional game. Macheda later admitted he didn't work hard enough to match that standard. 6 loan spells followed. By 2014, he was released without ever establishing himself. Today, he plays in the Greek second division. One perfect moment, then nothing. Danny Drinkwater proves that even winning the Premier League doesn't guarantee you belong there. In 2016, he was a genuine starter in Leicester's miracle title, one of football's greatest stories. Chelsea paid £35 million the following year. He made 23 appearances across 5 seasons. Loans to Burnley, Aston Villa, and Kasim Pasha went nowhere. A title winner who simply couldn't replicate it anywhere else. The system that made him shine at Leicester didn't exist at Chelsea, and without it, he looked ordinary. Some Level 1 players have the physical tools but lack everything else. Adama Traoré remains the most fascinating case study. His athletic profile, sprint speed, acceleration, upper body power, represents elite-tier physical capital. But without corresponding cognitive development in decision-making under pressure, those physical assets depreciate rapidly. Jordan Ibe, £15 million move to Bournemouth, now without a club. Henri Lansbury, looked destined for Arsenal's midfield, never broke through. Mario Balotelli, 1 Premier League goal in an entire season at Liverpool, sold within a year. These players remind us of something football romantics don't like to admit. Talent alone guarantees nothing. Level 2. The squad filler. Every successful team needs them. The players who won't make headlines but will give you exactly what you expect, week after week. Level 2 is the backbone of mid-table football. Reliable professionals who understand their limitations and maximize their contributions within them. James Milner, in his later years, perfectly embodies this level. By the time he reached his mid-30s at Liverpool, Milner wasn't starting or scoring decisive goals. But Jurgen Klopp kept him around for years because his tactical discipline was impeccable. He could slot into left-back, central midfield, or even right wing, and deliver a 6.5 out of 10 performance. Never spectacular, never a liability. That consistency has enormous value. Fred at Manchester United represents a different kind of Level 2 player, one who probably arrived expecting to reach Level 4 or higher. United paid around £52 million for the Brazilian in 2018. He had the technical ability and the pedigree, but something never clicked at Old Trafford. He wasn't bad. He made over 200 appearances across all competitions, but he never became the midfield anchor United needed. His market value steadily declined. His performances were functional, not transformative. What separates Level 2 from Level 1 is durability. These players stick around for 5, 6, even 10 seasons. They understand how to preserve their careers with the limitations they have, managing training loads, adapting their games as athleticism fades, accepting reduced roles gracefully. Craig Dawson spent his prime years bouncing between West Ham, Watford, and Wolves, always contributing, never standing out. Neil Maupay has played for Brighton, Everton, and Brentford with remarkably similar output everywhere. 8 to 12 goals per season, useful link-up play, and a knack for winding up opposition defenders. His market value sits in the £10 to £15 million range, and that's exactly where it should be. Eric Lamela. Moments of magic, but never consistently elite. Ben Davies at Tottenham. Reliable deputy, never first choice. Lucas Digne. Solid investment, solid returns, nothing more. Level 2 players fill squads across the league. They're the reason promoted clubs survive and why big clubs rotate successfully in cup competitions. Underrated by fans, valued by managers, essential to football's ecosystem. Level 3, the Premier League starter. Now we reach the players who genuinely belong. Level 3 footballers don't just survive in the Premier League, they anchor teams. They're the kind of player who'd start comfortably for 12 to 14 clubs in the division. Not world beaters, not luxury signings, just reliable, week in, week out contributors who deliver 7 out of 10 performances with remarkable consistency. Pascal Gross spent years at Brighton doing exactly this. A German midfielder who arrived in 2017 for around £3 million and quietly became one of the league's most underrated creators. His assist numbers rivaled players at much bigger clubs. His set-piece delivery was exceptional. He understood Brighton's tactical system completely and executed it without ego. Joe Linton at Newcastle represents one of football's most remarkable transformations. He arrived in 2019 as a £40 million striker and looked completely lost, scoring just 6 Premier League goals across 2 seasons. The transfer looked like a disaster. Then, Eddie Howe converted him into a box-to-box midfielder, and suddenly everything clicked. His physical intensity, work rate, and ball-carrying ability made him one of Newcastle's most important players. He went from mocked flop to fan favourite by accepting a role nobody expected and maximising every attribute within it. Seamus Coleman has spent 15 years at Everton, captaining them through turbulent periods with quiet professionalism. His pace has faded, but his positioning and leadership haven't. Longevity built on understanding exactly what he can and can't do. The fascinating thing about Level 3 is that advancement is possible but not guaranteed. Nicky Butt won 6 Premier League titles at Manchester United without ever being considered world-class. That's not an insult. It's the definition of Level 3 excellence. He played 270 times for United across a decade, filling whatever midfield role Sir Alex Ferguson needed that week. When Roy Keane or Paul Scholes were injured or rested, Butt stepped in and delivered functional, disciplined performances. Ferguson trusted him in Champions League knockout matches, and that trust was never misplaced. The purest expression of Level 3 professionalism. Level 3 players are the ones coaches trust most. They're not match winners, but they're rarely match losers either. They train professionally. They don't cause dressing room problems. They perform their tactical duties precisely. For fans, they're often invisible. You notice when they're absent more than when they're present. And that, strangely, is the highest compliment you can pay them. Level 4. The high-impact Premier League star. This is where narratives start forming. Level 4 players don't just contribute, they drive performances. They're the best players at their clubs. Their absence fundamentally changes how their teams play. Cole Palmer exploded into this level during 2023-24. After barely featuring at Manchester City, he joined Chelsea and immediately became their most important attacking threat. His decision-making in the final third was remarkable for a 22-year-old. His finishing was clinical. More importantly, he showed the mental resilience to handle pressure that breaks other young players. Palmer scored 22 Premier League goals and added 11 assists, numbers that placed him alongside the league's elite creators. He's had his periods where he has dropped off, but surely has the potential for higher levels. The key question for level 4 players: can they sustain it? Martin Ødegaard has answered yes emphatically. The Arsenal captain consistently delivers performances that elevate everyone around him. His technical quality allows Arsenal to control matches. His leadership development under Mikel Arteta has been remarkable. He's now pushing toward level 5, but the consistency required for that jump takes years to prove. John McGinn is the heartbeat of Aston Villa's resurgence. The Scottish midfielder arrived from Hibernian in 2018 for just £2.5 million and immediately demonstrated why transfer fees often misrepresent actual value. His engine is relentless, covering more ground than almost any midfielder in the league while maintaining quality in the final third. What separates him from level 3 is influence. When McGinn plays well, Villa's entire midfield functions better. When he's absent, there's a visible drop in intensity and ball retention. At 30, he's captain, and Villa would struggle to replace what he provides, even at significant cost. Declan Rice made the leap from West Ham's level 4 talisman to Arsenal's midfield anchor for £105 million. At West Ham, he was clearly their best player, the heartbeat of everything they did well. That's the level 4 marker, when one player's performance dictates their team's ceiling. Rice's challenge now is proving he can maintain that influence, surrounded by better teammates who demand the ball too. Tim Cahill arrived at Everton for £1.5 million and became the most important player at Goodison Park for nearly a decade. His timing on attacking runs from midfield produced 56 Premier League goals, remarkable for someone who wasn't the focal point of any system. Jermaine Defoe scored 162 Premier League goals across 6 different clubs. Pure poacher's instinct that kept him relevant for 18 seasons. This is the level where careers are defined. Push through to level 5 or 6 and you become something more. Fall back to level 3 and you're labeled a disappointment, despite still being objectively excellent. The margins are impossibly thin. Level 5. The Premier League Elite. Level 5 players are the difference between good teams and great ones. They're the top 10 to 20 players in the entire league. They deliver 8 out of 10 performances as their baseline, occasionally exploding into 9s and 10s when their team needs them most. European clubs track them constantly. Contracts exceed £200,000 per week. Their names appear in Ballon d'Or discussions. Rodri epitomized this level before his injury. The Spanish midfielder anchored Manchester City's entire system. His positional intelligence and spatial awareness allow City to control tempo in ways that don't appear on highlight reels but show up dramatically in possession statistics and defensive transition data. When he played, City's win percentage sat around 74%. Without him, it dropped dramatically. One player dictating how the best team in England functioned. Roy Keane was the enforcer who made Manchester United's dominance possible. His tactical intelligence and relentless intensity set the tone for everything United achieved in the late 1990s and early 2000s. 7 Premier League titles, a treble, and a reputation as perhaps the most demanding midfielder in the league's history. When Keane played, opponents knew they were in for a physical and psychological battle. His impact on United's culture and winning mentality probably belongs at level 7. But what's often overlooked is his technical ability. Keane's passing range, his ability to carry the ball under pressure, and his timing on forward runs were genuinely elite. Patrick Vieira matched Keane's intensity from the other side of the rivalry. The Frenchman combined elite physical attributes, pace, power, and remarkable stride length with technical quality that allowed Arsenal to dominate midfield battles. His 4 FA Cup wins and 3 league titles, including the Invincible season, cemented his status among the Premier League's greatest midfielders. Virgil van Dijk reached his peak at level 6, or even level 7, during Liverpool's title-winning season. Since his ACL injury, he's remained at level 5. Still excellent, still commanding, but no longer the force that made attackers look amateur. At 33, he's managing his physical output intelligently, using experience and positioning to compensate for slightly diminished athleticism. Bruno Fernandes transformed Manchester United when he arrived in January 2020. Suddenly, United had a creator who could unlock defenses consistently. His goal contributions from midfield rival any player in Europe. The question with Bruno has always been consistency. He can disappear against the best opponents, but his overall output keeps him firmly in the elite bracket. Level 5 players carry responsibility differently. When things go wrong, they're expected to fix it. When their team needs leadership, they provide it. The mental pressure at this level is immense because expectations never drop. Level 6. The era-defining superstar. Now we're talking about players who don't just perform in the Premier League, they reshape it. Level 6 players dominate for multiple seasons. They change how opposing teams prepare tactically. They win major trophies and collect individual awards. When football historians discuss the 2020s, these are the names that define the era. Kevin De Bruyne spent a decade at Manchester City, establishing himself as perhaps the greatest playmaker in Premier League history. He arrived in 2015 and immediately transformed their attacking output. His passing range was extraordinary. He could switch play 60 yards with pinpoint accuracy, or thread a ball through impossible gaps in congested defenses. His assist record speaks for itself. 20 in a single season to match Thierry Henry's all-time mark. The best minutes per assist ratio in league history among players with 50-plus appearances. Injuries plagued his later years. 5 months out in 2023/24 with a hamstring problem. But De Bruyne's response demonstrated exactly why he belongs at level 6. In January 2024, he returned against Newcastle and immediately produced a goal and an assist in a 3-2 comeback win. 6 Premier League titles, a Champions League, and a style of creative midfield play that influenced an entire generation. Mohamed Salah has delivered remarkable consistency for Liverpool since 2017. His goal-scoring numbers, over 220 goals for the club, establish him among the greatest attackers in English football history. He won the league. He won the Champions League. He's won the Golden Boot 3 times. What separates Salah from merely excellent players is his ability to maintain elite output season after season. Other attackers have hot years. Salah has had 8 of them consecutively. Dennis Bergkamp redefined what a striker could be in English football. When he arrived at Arsenal in 1995, forwards were expected to run channels and finish crosses. Bergkamp did neither. He dropped deep, linked play with supernatural first touches, and scored goals that seemed to defy physics. His strike against Newcastle in 2002, controlling a long ball with one touch, spinning past the defender with another, and finishing with a third, remains the most technically perfect goal in Premier League history. 3 league titles, including the Invincibles, 87 goals, 94 assists, and a style of play that directly influenced how Arsène Wenger built Arsenal's identity for the next decade. Erling Haaland demands inclusion despite limited seasons because his trajectory is unprecedented. He reached 100 Premier League goals in just 111 appearances, smashing Alan Shearer's record of 124 games by 13 matches. He averages 0.93 goals per Premier League game. In his debut season, he scored 36 league goals, breaking the single-season record. He's won back-to-back Golden Boots and is currently on pace for over 40 goals this campaign, which would obliterate his own record. At 25, with a contract until 2034, Shearer's all-time record of 260 Premier League goals looks genuinely achievable. Vincent Kompany demonstrated that defenders can define eras too. He captained Manchester City to their first Premier League title in 44 years in 2011/12, scoring the decisive header against Manchester United in a 1-0 win that shifted the title race. He won 4 Premier League titles as captain. His leadership and defensive intelligence set standards that City still measure themselves against. When they erected a statue of him outside the Etihad, it was acknowledgement that some players transcend statistics. Eden Hazard, at his Chelsea peak, belonged here comfortably. 2 Premier League titles, PFA Player of the Year, performances against Liverpool and Arsenal that made elite defenders look ordinary. His dribbling in tight spaces was the best in the league for years. What happened at Real Madrid doesn't diminish what he achieved in England. Level 6 players leave legacies. Their highlights fill YouTube compilations for decades. Their tactical influence shapes how football develops long after they retire. Level 7. The Premier League icon. Level 7 exists beyond performance. These players become part of the Premier League's mythology. They're the names children grow up hearing about. The players whose moments get replayed every anniversary. They don't just win, they define what winning looks like for an entire generation. Thierry Henry might be the most complete forward the Premier League has ever seen. 175 goals, 74 assists, 4 Golden Boots, 2 league titles including an unbeaten season. His technical ability, pace, finishing, and tactical intelligence combined into something unprecedented. When Arsenal needed brilliance, Henry provided it. When they needed leadership, he stepped up. His statue outside the Emirates shows him in his iconic knee-slide celebration, frozen in a moment that represented years of dominance. Cristiano Ronaldo's first Manchester United spell established him as one of football's greatest ever players. He arrived as a raw teenager with tricks and ambition. He left as the Ballon d'Or winner, having scored 118 goals and lifted 3 consecutive Premier League titles. His development under Sir Alex Ferguson, from flashy winger to ruthless goalscorer, remains the blueprint for attacking evolution. He later returned older, still scoring, but that first era was what earned him legend status. Wayne Rooney combined longevity with explosive peak performances. 208 Premier League goals, second only to Alan Shearer. 5 league titles. A complete forward who could drop deep, press defenders, or score from anywhere. His overhead kick against Manchester City might be the greatest goal in derby history. His partnership with Ronaldo, and later Robin van Persie, drove United's dominance for nearly a decade. Sergio Aguero produced the most famous goal in Premier League history. Aguero, against QPR in 2012, clinched City's first title in dramatic fashion. But Aguero was far more than one moment. He scored 184 Premier League goals, the most by any overseas player. His minutes per goal ratio of 108 remains the best in league history among players with 20-plus goals. He reached 100 Premier League goals in 147 games, second only to Shearer at the time. Clinical finishing defined his career. When Aguero was fit, he was virtually unstoppable. Steven Gerrard carried Liverpool through their most difficult years. His Champions League final in Istanbul, where Liverpool recovered from 3-0 down to beat AC Milan on penalties, remains the greatest individual performance in the competition's history. His ability to score decisive goals from midfield was matched only by his willingness to defend, tackle, and lead. He never won the Premier League, and that remains football's cruelest irony. A player of his quality deserved a title. Frank Lampard redefined what midfielders could contribute offensively. His 177 Premier League goals remain the most by any midfielder in the competition's history, more than most strikers ever manage. 3 league titles, 4 FA Cups, Champions League glory. His late runs into the box became trademark, arriving at exactly the right moment to convert chance after chance. The tactical intelligence required to time those runs while also fulfilling defensive responsibilities was extraordinary. Alan Shearer holds the record that matters most: 260 Premier League goals. Nobody else has reached even 220. He won 1 league title with Blackburn in 1995 and spent the rest of his career as Newcastle's talisman, putting the ball in the net with mechanical regularity. His heading ability, penalty conversion, and physical presence set the standard for what a number 9 should be. Haaland is the only player with a realistic chance of catching him, and even that will take years. Level 7 is about cultural impact. It's about moments that transcend football and become shared memories for millions. It's about players who didn't just play in the Premier League. They made the Premier League what it is. Every player who reaches the Premier League has already achieved something extraordinary. They've beaten impossible odds to compete at the highest level of English football. If you enjoyed this breakdown, subscribe for more deep dives into football's tactics, history, and the stories behind the game.